You've just found the Montana Outdoor Podcast. Here, you'll discover the people and places that make Montana like no other place in the world. If you love to fish, hunt, or just enjoy creating your own adventure in the outdoors, you have come to the right place. The Montana Outdoor Podcast is brought to you by Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer, home of Boss Snowplows and Accessories, and Diamond Sea Trailers and Accessories. Go to rmtte.com and see everything they have waiting for you online, or just come by 5680 Expressway in Missoula, and by Superior Hardwoods of Montana, delivering the highest quality lumber, paneling, flooring, and reclaimed wood products anywhere in North America. Let them guide you through the woods at their showroom in Missoula on Highway 93 South or at superior-hardwoods.com. Now, let's go discover Montana's great outdoors with your host, Downrigger Dale. Have a great show, buddy. Can't wait to hear it.
Thank you very much, Roger. And as Roger just said, I am Downrigger Dale, and welcome back into the Montana Outdoor Podcast Studios. Hey, we've got a great beginning of a new series about previewing ice fishing around the great state of Montana. A great winter sport, a great way to not let winter just pass you by while you sit inside. And there are so many new pieces of technology and new things to go with ice fishing now, and that's why that sport is growing so much. But before we get into that, I want to welcome in, as I always do, some groups that have been with us from the very beginning and are very special to all of us here at the Montana Outdoor Podcast. First, I want to welcome all active military out there that are watching and listening all around the world at bases, well, who knows where in some cases. So thank you so much for watching and listening. And it is an honor to have you here. And, well, thank you so much for your service and what you do for our great country and protecting all of us. Also, Montana is home to some of the most veterans in the planet. And that is our American veterans. You folks have given us so much and done so much for us, and we are, again, very honored that you as well watch and listen to this program a lot, and I appreciate very much your emails and that. So for both active military and veterans, if you want us to give you a shout-out to anybody out there, especially active military, if you're outside of the United States and want to make sure we give a little shout-out to one of your family members that listens to this podcast, give them a little surprise, well, we're more than happy to do that. So let us know. Also, our promotions department always wants me to remind you this, and it really does help. If you would like, subscribe and share this podcast, it helps us a lot. We want to continue to grow, so our friends at YouTube and Spotify and other places where you watch this on video and also hear it, will keep us going and growing. So please, before you finish watching this, click the old like button, click the subscribe button. That helps us a great deal. Plus, it's great because when you click subscribe, you get reminded whenever there's a new episode. So there you go. We would love it if you would do that. Well, now let's get into what we want to talk about today. And that is, if you went outside, you felt it's a little crisp out there. Yeah, wintertime is here. I don't know if we're quite into the first day of winter, but that'll be here soon. But, nature doesn't know the calendar. It just does what it does. We're going to start to see what we like to call hard water soon. And with that means we're going to get to go ice fishing. Now, of course, you never know when it gets safe enough. We're going to cover all that today with a guy that, if you listen to our radio show, you have heard this voice many, many times. Captain Matt McComb comes on our show and does fishing reports from Flathead Lake. You've heard him so many times when we're talking to him, and the reels are zinging, and he's got these huge lake trout on and that. So, but he also guides for ice fishing and is incredible at that too. Very, very knowledgeable. Of course, that's why we got him on today. He is probably, well, I know he's the top fishing guide in Western Montana, probably one of the top in Montana, if not the nation. He is just an incredible guide. He's been with us a long time, knows the area incredible. So we're talking about northwest Montana, kind of Kalispell west. There's just lake after lake. Matt's going to tell you all. Captain Matt, welcome to the Montana Outdoor Podcast. If it feels like deja vu, well, it is. We did this. Just an inside joke, folks. We were talking away and just all excited. I looked and my dang machine hadn't turned on, so we hadn't recorded it. So,
thank you, Downrigger.
Yeah.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm Matt McComb with Fish on the Charters out of Lakeside, Montana, here on Flathead Lake, up in the Kalispell area. And today we're going to talk a little bit about hard water, ice fish. We're getting into the late November, going into December, so everyone's getting excited. We're slowly putting all of our summer fishing gear. Our boats are getting all winterized, and we're pulling out the ice shacks and the ice fishing rods, and we're gearing up for what we call the second half of fishing season.
Yeah.
So you've got soft water and you got the hard water. And today we're going to talk a little bit about safety, gear, and some of the lakes around here. But like I said, my name is Matt McComb with Fish on Charters. I originally grew up on Lake Ponderay, which is down the stream from Flathead Lake over in the Sandpoint, North Idaho area. I've been on the water since I was 9 years old. I had my first boat when I was 10.
really?
So as all the other kids were out there riding their bikes and building tree houses, I was on the lake all by myself, fishing every day. We owned a resort there on Lake Ponderay, so everything I did was on the water growing up. After I graduated, I joined the Coast Guard because I wanted to be on water again. And then 35 years later, here I am, still on the water, and been guiding for I'm just finishing up my 22nd year as a fishing guide over here in northwest Montana, and I've enjoyed every minute, every second, every day of it. I've been blessed from my family and my friends supporting us and keeping us going. And we're obviously doing something right there, Downrigger, because we're still doing it.
Yeah.
And we're still be one of the busiest companies out here. And we've just been striving every day. People say, well, how can you get up every day and go fishing and you don't get tired of it, or it doesn't get old? I say, well, if you like what you do, you don't call it work.
Right.
And see the smiles on our boats or on the ice trips that we do. We've got 2 and 3 generations sometimes in our boats, and to see the smile on Grandpa's face that his grandkid just caught their first fish or their biggest fish or their first lake trout or their first whitefish, that's why we do it. The smiles, the pictures that they take, and I've sent you a few pictures on some of the successful clients and my family. I got my grandson and my wife in some of those pictures, and Cameron, my partner, on showing you the multi-species that we have in the area and why northwest Montana, I think, is the gem of Montana. I know Fort Peck and the central part are great fisheries too, but as we get talking here, I'll explain what makes us so unique, not only the area and the beauty, but the different species of fish and the different opportunities we have locally. I mean, within a half hour, 45 minutes, you can cover 20, 30 different lakes, and basically just pick your poison out here and then do a little research. And if you don't want to do the research, you call me up and I'll take you out fishing for a small fee. And not only will I teach you how I'm doing it, but you will learn and be able to do it on your own. That's one of the biggest things that I like to do is I do seminars down at Chansey's Fish Camp. I've been doing seminars for over 20 years for those guys down there, and I get the same questions every year. It's just a different group of people. Every time I do a seminar, they're asking the same questions. What kind of rods do I need? What kind of electronics do I need? And we're going to go over some of that today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we'll cover some safety stuff. And that's the most important part too, is the safety. So we'll get rolling on here. And where do you want to go first there?
Well, let's get into finding the lakes that are the most popular ice fishing lakes there in your area, Matt. And folks, I think you're going to be shocked at the variety of fish and the number of lakes and all that. So if we touched on every lake around you, this would be about a 4-hour podcast. But talk about what some of your top favorite lakes are and the species you go after, Matt.
So we're considered a cold water fishery on this side. The east side, it's got the walleyes, the sauger, the big crappie and the smallmouth. We have some of those over here, but we're more into the rainbows, the cutthroats, the graylings, but we also have a lot of the lake trout and the yellow perch, which is probably our number one in Montana sought after fish is the yellow perch. Why? You can get quantity, some quality. It's one of the best eaten fish around the Northwest besides the kokanee salmon. And our number one lake around here is Lake Mary Ronan. It's about halfway down Flyhead Lake. It's about 5 miles off Highway 93. It's got a great resort on it, and it's full of yellow perch. And I say that when I say it's full, you can get a 5-gallon bucket out there in no time at all. And I see a lot of Missoula pickup trucks there. So I know you got all the Kalispell, you got the Missoula guys coming up. And I've met a lot of guys that are they live 100 miles away. And I'm like, you drive all the way here from the perch? And they're like, oh, betcha. We love it.
Yeah.
So that's one of our great lakes for that. Not very far away. It's a shallow lake. So it's not like you're fishing real deep. We fish anywhere from 15 to 25, 30 feet deep. So it's a great way to bring the kids out there. Lots of action. So that's one of our go-tos for that. The second number one fish that people like to go after are the kokanee salmon.
Yeah.
The kokanee salmon is a landlocked sockeye. They get to be anywhere from 10 to 15 inches long when they're fully grown. They're a great fighting fish. You land maybe 1 out of 5 that you hook because they are so erratic.
Yeah, they go nuts on you, don't they?
Very soft mouth. So you have to finesse those when you hook them. And that lake is Little Bitterroot Lake. And that's about 20 miles west of Kalispell on Highway 2. That thing is just full of salmon. In late winter, that lake takes a while to freeze up, but as late winter comes on, you'll see anywhere 100, 150 people out there on any given day because of the salmon fishing. It's wonderful. One of the other sought after fish in Northwest Montana is the northern pike. Now, these are the toothy.
Yeah.
We call them the freshwater gators out here. We've got 3 or 4 really nice lakes for the northern pike, but our go-to lake, which has several fishing tournaments on it for the pike, is Smith Lake. And that's only about 7-8 miles west of Kalispell, right off of Highway 2. And we're not getting big ones out there, but we're getting numbers. And that's what people want. They want numbers. They want that pole bent over and taking line and bobbers going down and tip ups going up. That's a great lake for that. Now we do a lot of our charters on that lake just for that one reason. So we get lots of action.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some other lakes around Thompson Chains, which is about 45 miles west on Highway 2. And there's 5 lakes out there that do have northern pike, but they also have salmon and perch in them also. So that's a multi-species lake out there. And then here locally, we've got Echo Lake, we got Swan Lake, and we've got the sloughs off the Flyhead River that produce some nice pike in there. So yeah, we've got a great variety for that, for the northern pike.
And Matt, on the Thompson chain of lakes, there's even a lake in there that has some of those tiger muskie too, isn't there?
That's a little bit farther down. Yeah.
Okay.
My island up there. Yes.
Yeah. Now I know those are hard to catch. They just are finicky as hell, but they call them the fish of 10,000 casts. But anyway, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I've got about 9,000 casts in so far. I've never caught one.
Yeah.
One of the other great fish that we love to catch around here in Northwest Montana are the Lake Superior whitefish. Now, if you listen to me on the Saturday show, on the outdoor radio show, we had a phenomenal season this year. Probably the best I've ever had in my 34 years fishing for them here. The numbers are just tremendous. The size, we were getting 5, 6, 7 pounders this year. It was a great fishery. But in the wintertime, they are a tough fish to catch. But we do have a lake, which ironically is called Whitefish Lake. Yeah. Just north of Kalispell here. So that's our go-to lake for catching whitefish. Kind of a tough conditions up there because it's right below the ski resort. So there's sometimes a lot of snow up there. It's kind of a snow belt that comes through there. So you got to be real careful up there. A lot of slush and a lot of snow. Now, our probably the variety that we've all talked about, is there a lake that carries all those species? Well, we got that too for you there, Downrigger. And that's Echo Lake. which is about 12 miles east of Kalispell towards the Big Fork area. Now, what Echo Lake has that's more unique than the rest of them is in one fishing hole, when you're ice fishing, you can catch up to 8 to 9 different species on the same hook out of the same hole out of Echo Lake.
Have you done that before?
With clients, yes. And my wife, we used to fish tournaments there, and you hook a fish and you don't know what it is until it comes out of the hole. It could be a perch, a crappie, a sunfish, a kokanee, a whitefish, a rainbow, a northern pike, smallmouth, or a largemouth, all in the same lake.
That is so cool. Yeah.
Yes. So that's a fun lake to go to. It takes a little bit longer into the winter to freeze up. But once it gets, a solid foot, I consider it safe to bring the 4-wheelers out there. And again, out of one hole, you don't know what you see your fish finder, you see a fish go through, you're like, oh, I wonder what that was. And all of a sudden your rod goes off and it's a smallmouth bass, or it's a pike, or it's a rainbow, or a whitefish. Yeah. Great lakes. So that's kind of just a little areas that we fish here. We're talking with less than an hour away of Kalispell. We've got so many different lakes. And there's, like you said earlier, if I was to talk about every lake that's got every different species, this would be a 4-hour show. So
yeah. And for those of you that are listening or watching here, that maybe you're not familiar with this area, in the podcast description, I'm going to try to put some links to those lakes just so you can read up a little more about them. So you'll be able to pull them up online and learn about the lakes that Matt has just mentioned and that. So after you're done watching, just go to the podcast description and we'll get you a little more info on those, especially where to find them.
One other lake that I didn't mention that we do charter on, just past Smith Lake before Bitterroot Lake, is a little lake called Rogers Lake. Now, what makes this lake unique, because I haven't talked about these two species yet, this lake only has the cutthroat trout and the Arctic grayling in it.
Really?
This is a great fly fishing lake in the summertime, but in the wintertime, yeah. So if you're looking to get a nice picture of a beautiful grayling or a cutthroat trout, that lake is very unique. And we do a couple trips out there, but those fish you don't want to keep and eat.
No.
Those are beautiful fish to catch and release. So we usually don't take too many folks out there because they want to keep fish and eat, or this is their first time in Montana. They want to experience the whole, go out fishing, take it home, fry it up, barbecue it. So yeah, I just thought I'd add that to the array of variety that we have here in the beautiful Northwest Montana.
Of all the thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners and viewers we have, I wonder if any of you have caught a grayling through the ice. Email me and let me know. I'd just be interested to know, because that is, I got to say, I've never done it. That's really interesting. Wow. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about as far as lakes and species before we move on to our next topic?
That's what makes us so unique up here is we have so much variety, and it makes it worth coming up here, whether you're on vacation. And there's so many things to do up here in the wintertime. A lot of time people just board their house up and just watch football all winter.
Yeah.
There's so much to do up here in Northwest Montana, whether you want to go downhill skiing, cross-country skiing, you can go snowshoeing up in Glacier Park, you can go dog sledding. We've got dog sled companies up here.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
And then on top of that, go ice fishing, get the full variety of what you can do in Northwest Montana. We get a lot of city folks up here from the Arizona, California, Texans that come up here. And they said, we've been here 8 days and we still haven't done everything you guys do on a daily basis. So yeah. And I'll give you our phone number and our website later on in the show if anybody wants to start looking into that and what it costs. And we can take up to 20 people fishing at a time, and no problem. So if you got a big family reunion, yeah, you betcha. We'll take care of everybody.
Well, quick story as far as you can do about everything in the spring, where it's kind of, you get a little taste of everything. One year, in one day, I did a little downhill skiing, played some golf, and caught some fish all in one day. So
only in Montana.
Yeah, it is a unique place. Now, let's move on to gear. And this is an important topic, Matt, because a lot of people say, okay, well, I've never ice fished. I'm an experienced angler. I love to get out in the summer and spring, but I just, thought it was too cold and too big of a problem. But boy, you guys are making it sound good. Talk a bit about the kind of the basic gear. Maybe you can break it down into, basic, standard, high end, or however you want to break it down. But just so folks know what they want to get. Now, keep in mind, gang, if you say, I would love to go out, but I'm probably not going to do it a lot, stay tuned, because Matt's going to tell you what we like to call the easy way of ice fishing. And that is, he'll just take you out and he has everything for you. But for those of you that want to get started in it, if you live here, it's a good idea to learn it, because I think you'll have fun. So talk about the gear that we need and what we should have.
Well, the first thing you probably want to do is pick the species that you like to fish for, because then you can target your gear towards that fish.
Okay.
There's no magic fishing rod or fishing line out there that's going to enable you to catch a 10-inch perch and a 40-inch pike. It's not going to happen. Very similar to cast fishing or trolling, you're going to have different rods for different species of fish. I've got kokanee rods, I've got perch rods, I've got pike rods, I've got lake trout rods, only because that rod is suited for that style and that size of fish.
Mm-hmm.
What I recommend, and I have over all the years I've been doing this, is go to your local tackle shops, whether it's a Cabela's or a Mom and Pop or Shields or Bob Ward's. Go to your local shops that carry fishing gear and talk to the salesman. See if there's seminars coming up. See if there's any local guides or outfitters that are willing to give their time up to do a seminar. Most of the time they're free. In fact, I think they're all free. If anybody charges for a seminar, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I do seminars all the time. We have Chancey's Fish Camp down here in Kalispell. Anytime you walk in that store, you'll see right away. They'll ask you, how you doing? What are you fishing for? Where do you want to go? Or they'll just tell you, hey, we have a board right here and it's got all the lakes, what they're using, what depths. So guys like me that go in there to buy more tackle, because that's just what I need is more tackle.
Yeah.
They always ask, how's the fishing been? And I give them an honest report, whether it's good or bad, and say, oh, we only caught 3. We fished all day. Well, the weather was bad. So yeah, go to your local tackle shop, support the local guys if you can, and you'll get a lot of information just from them.
Yeah.
Now,
in fact, if you go to our website, montanooutdoor.com, we have a group that we've worked with for several years now, and we call it our Montana Outdoor Approved Sporting Goods Stores, and that's all across the state, including your area. If you click on that, it'll show you every of the ones, and these are ones that our fearless leader, Captain, has gone into, has worked with, and knows that they're really good about giving great advice. And they're also all locally owned, which we're really big into. So if you want, just click on that on montanooutdoor.com, and that'll lead you. I'll also put a link to that in the podcast description. Okay, sorry, Matt, go ahead.
Also, your local shops are going to sell you the right gear for the right species.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you buying the wrong rod and coming back and saying, well, I didn't catch a single fish because I couldn't seal the bite. Well, and then we're going to go over that right now if you want to.
Sure, yes, please.
I've got 3 different style of rods out right now, and I'll explain why. You want to go, there's ultralight, light, and then medium to medium heavy. Those are your 4 basic ice fishing rods. This is a schoolie rod, and this is a very ultralight. And when I say ultralight, we're talking, a 1/32 pumped fly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now I'm fishing for perch and crappie, sunfish with this. When I say ultralight, I'm running 2-pound test. Okay. But look how sensitive these rods are.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can feel the slightest little tug on this. Now, would I fish for a 10-pound pike on this rod? No, this rod's not going to handle a 10-pound pike. It's not going to handle a 15-pound lake trout.
Right.
You're going to go up about 4 notches on that. So you've got ultralight rods,
Mm-hmm.
your for your small panfish.
So like perch and stuff like that, would you use the ultralight for those?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I go into my fiberglass. This is an Abbott Garcia all glass rod. It's got a little more backbone to it. So I'll fish for whitefish, bass, rainbows on this. I'm going to beef up my line to 4 to 6 pound test because I'm going for a little bit bigger species of fish. Now I'm looking for the pike or lake trout. Now this is a funny story. This is called the perch assault rod. And this was actually invented by Chansey at Chansey's Fish Camp.
I'll be danged.
Yep. He hooked up with HT Enterprises back in the day. And not that I was part of it, but we all use these up here in the Northwest, and you can purchase these either online through his store, or you can stop by the store. He carries them. Now this rod is a medium to medium heavy. I can hook into a nice 10, 15 pound fish with this. Now I've bumped up to braided line. I've got 15 pound braided line, and then I got a steel leader on it. So I fish for pike, lake trout, any of the bigger species of fish. Now, like I said, this thing can handle some serious weight.
Sure.
Yeah, so there's kind of your 3 classes. And earlier I said you're going to want to pick a species that you want to target. That's what's going to determine where you're going to spend your money, where you're going to spend your tackle, your line, stuff like that.
Well, and then having that right rod and line and all that, it's also going to reduce the frustration level big time because you're not going to keep losing fish and breaking them off and all that. So
a lot of guys in our seminars will ask us, what's the best fishing line? Well, if you've been to a tackle store lately, there is so many different varieties of fishing lines. I'm a go-to. I stick with my tri-lane, or I stick with my cam frost ice. Now, fluorocarbon, stuff like that, they all work. I just had really good luck with these 2 right here. I don't get broke off very often. When I do, it's not because of the fishing line. I caught a tooth or the ice cut it off. But these are just your basic, not real expensive lines. I changed my line several times during the course of the season, so I stock up on this stuff. I also have higher grades, 8 pound, 10 pound, 12 pound, depending on what species we're fishing for.
Now, Matt, you don't recommend just using the normal fishing line that we use out in the summertime? Is this line a little different for ice fishing that handles cold weather better than that?
Correct. And it's a little bit more sensitive because you're fishing vertically versus casting. So you're going to feel those little nibbles when they're trying to take your bait off the hook. And your rod is also going to be the most important part because it's got the soft, sensitive tips on it. So you can see when a fish is just, we call it gumming it or sucking it in and spitting it back out.
Okay.
And then, again, Downrigger, I am not sponsored by any manufacturer. I'm telling you the stuff that we use as guides because it's proven. I've dropped these off the 4-wheeler going down the lake, and they tumbled and they never broke. So I'm going with durability versus a brand name, or just because they're using it on the TV shows on the cable channels.
Right.
Yeah. Probably the next most important thing when coming to gear, and I talk about this intensely in the soft water season, open water, is you can have a $1,000 boat, but that boat is worth nothing without electronics. Mm-hmm. Everything has to do with your electronics. Why is that so important? Well, your electronics are your eyeballs in the water. Okay. Whether you have $100,000 boat or $1,000 boat, if they both have the same fish finder in them, they're finding fish.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
So people ask, well, what's the best fish finder? Well, they're all fish finders are unique in their own way. Different manufacturers, the way they show the screen. Now we got all this new technology coming out, and we're just now starting to get into the new technology. But one of the cheapest ways to get your eyes in the water, now there's fancy manufacturers out there making cameras.
Oh, yeah.
Cameras to change ice fishing more than any other product that's come out in the last 10, 15 years. Why are cameras so important? Well, two things. I can see my terrain. I can see the vegetation. I can see the bait, but I can also see the fish. Why are cameras a must need? Well, if I'm pre-fishing or if we call it hole hopping. Say you drilled 10 holes out there and you drop your camera down and all you're seeing is gravel. Oh, now I have vegetation. Well, vegetation is going to hold bait. Well, sometimes your fish finders can't really see the vegetation. That's where the camera comes in. And the only reason I'm showing you this one is because financially, I have found that this is probably the best bang for your buck.
I can pronounce it, Matt.
E-yo-yo.
E-yo-yo. Okay. I'm glad I asked you. Now, before we get into the details on that, we're going to just take one quick break so one of our sponsors can get in who makes all this possible, but we'll be right back right after this. Are you going to get out hunting or to your favorite ice fishing hole this year? Yeah, I know. Finding the time is always the hard part, isn't it? Well, Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer can help you get the things done that you have to do so you have time to do the things you want to do. How about clearing the driveway or work areas of snow? Yeah, that can be a time sucker for sure. Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer has just what you need. A huge selection of Boss snowplows and accessories that'll fit any truck or ATV even. Boss snowplows are flat amazing at removing snow fast. Or how about something that can serve you at both work and on your next adventure outdoors? Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer has awesome Diamond C utility trailers and accessories that can haul work equipment during the week and then your ATV or snowmobile or other awesome outdoor toys on the weekend. Of course, Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer also has an amazing service department with top technicians and parts pros that are ready to fix or replace whatever you need, from installing a new fifth wheel or gooseneck hitch, or even rewiring the lights on your trailer so they work the way they're supposed to. What about getting some other time-saving accessories for your truck installed? That, my friends, is for sure one of their specialties. And get this, Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer can even help with financing. Yeah, they've got you covered. This is going to be a great fall and winter season, my friends, especially if you go see Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer. They're in Missoula at 5680 Expressway. You can call them at 406-549-4243 or check them out online at rmtte.com. That's Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer, rmtte.com. Get a hold of them today and then start planning that hunting trip. Back here on the Montana Outdoor Podcast, Captain Matt McComb is our guest, and he is giving us a master class about ice fishing up in northwest Montana. And we're now talking about the gear you need. And you started just before the break talking about E-yo-yo. Did I say that right?
Yo-yo, yes.
E-yo-yo, it's fun to say. Now, this is a camera. Now, this is different than a fish finder, correct? Or a sonar.
Correct.
Okay. So tell us about E-yo-yo. One, it's very affordable. About how much is that you have in your hands there?
$120.
No way, really? Okay.
And it comes with a lithium battery. It's got a nice little hard case here. It's got a nice 5-inch straight edge.
Mm-hmm.
They're quick. They're easy. You plug it in. You drop the camera in the hole. You can go vertically or horizontally. It has different settings for the camera. And when I say this is a game changer, well, you know, kids today, they're all about electronics.
Absolutely.
Now, if you can get a kid to go fishing, that's one thing. But if you can get a kid to pay attention to some electronics, that's the great part. So yeah, if you stick this on a bucket right in front of them, not only can they see their fishing lure, but they can see the fish come in. What do we learn about cameras over the years is now we can see how a fish reacts to the way you're jigging. Where regular electronics, you can see your jig going up and down. You can see a fish come in and he doesn't bite it. Well, what did I do wrong? Well, with cameras, I can see what I did wrong. He was about to bite it and I lifted it out of his mouth. Well, with the camera, he's about to bite it. So I'm going to freeze my rod. He bites it. I set the hook. So your hook to fish on top of the ice ratio goes higher when you can actually see what's going on down there.
So this is like, that forward-facing sonar and stuff like that, but one, way cheaper, and two, for ice fishing, it makes a lot of sense because, we get out on the normal fresh water. A lot of times you can see down and see what structure you're looking for the species you want. Ice, not going to be able to do that. That is fascinating. So you're able to kind of have that fancy schmancy forward-facing sonar for what was that, 100 and what?
I haven't bought one in 2 years, but they're around $120.
Wow.
Now, I guarantee you, while people are listening to this podcast right now or watching it, they are going on Amazon right now.
Yeah.
And they're doing quick because they do sell out before Christmas.
That is fascinating. How deep can one of those cameras go, Matt?
I believe I've got a 50-foot cord, or you can get a 100-foot cord with it.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, for ice fishing, that's plenty. I mean, the 50 foot is
a
probably
game changer, only because if you don't know what's going on down there, you don't know how to react, and that's the biggest part of fishing is reacting to what the fish are doing.
Mm-hmm.
If he's coming in, he's looking at it, doesn't like it, I'm going to pull up, I'm going to put a different lure down there, see how they react to a different lure or a different bait, whether I should change from maggots to mealworm or to a regular worm or corn. Yeah, so that's the game changer.
If we're over and say some of these over on the east side of the mountains, some of these reservoirs like Fort Peck and that are more murkier, that might be a bit of a challenge, right?
Correct.
But
they also have a light built in them, so you can fish at night.
You're kidding me. My God, that is so cool. Okay, go ahead.
Well, one of the other key components for ice fishing is obviously using a flasher sonar. And what does this do? Well, if you're not into the camera part of it, this is the more traditional. The Vexilar's been out for years. If you don't know what a Vexilar is, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there. Go to thevexilar.com. You can watch videos. It's got a transducer, just like on your boat. You drop it in the fishing hole. You've got several different color displays and stuff like that. And then you will learn either through the YouTube or just in general fishing on how to read a flasher, how to read when a fish comes in, and how you react with your jig. Yeah, this is a must have also.
Mm-hmm.
But a fish a lot deeper, quicker. I can hole hop very quick with the cameras. If I'm got my camera lens down there 20 feet, I got to roll it all back up,
Sure.
Put my gear back together, go to the next hole where this is quicker, faster, and just as accurate, but I'm not seeing it on a screen. I'm seeing it on a flasher.
Now, is that Vexilar looking just straight down? Does it go sideways or anything? Just straight down?
Nope. This is straight down. It's got anywhere from an 8 to 12 to 20 degree cone coming out of it. So the deeper you go, the smaller your cone you want to make it. So you're looking directly where your jig is and how the fish are coming in.
Perfect.
But this is a must have for ice fishing. And there's several different models. You can go cheap. This one has zoom. It's got multicolors. This is one of the top end ones. This is my own personal one. I don't really use it for chartering. I have other models for that. Mm-hmm. This is me and my wife's go-to model when we're fishing tournaments and stuff like that.
And I'll put some links to Vexilar and EOYO so you can do a little research too, folks, if you want to look at all the different models.
You betcha. Probably with all the technology that we've been talking about and how we've advanced over the last 10, 15 years with ion batteries, that the batteries are lighter now. They last longer, whether it be in your vehicle, in your boat, in your fish finders, in your cameras, even our phones. I talk to people about some of the stuff that you can download on your smartphones, and that's Navionics. And what makes Navionics very unique is basically it's the topographical maps of all the lakes in your area.
Yeah, I really like that. That I've got that on my phone as well, and I really enjoy that. Very helpful. So
I just, in 10 seconds, I just punched up Flathead Lake, and
okay.
it tells me where I'm at. It tells me the depths of the lake. So whether you're going into a lake you've never fished, you can pull up a map of that lake that you're fishing, and it's showing you where you're at. So as you're moving along the lake, you can see where a drop off is or a riverbed. And this is a great thing to have. I have it in the boat. Why not have it on the ice, right?
Sure. Okay. Now, for some of these smaller lakes you're talking about around, will you find those in that Navionics package as well?
Most of them are on there,
I'll
yes.
be dang. Okay.
They're pretty accurate. They're accurate enough to at least get you started in an area that where you think there might be fish, or might be an underwater hump or a sunken island or a point that comes out that you can't see visually by standing on the ice, but you can see it on your map, and you put your gear right on the spot.
So it's going to show you those depths. Now you can see, okay, that's probably the structure I'm looking for. Now you move on to, say, your camera or your, the Vexlar, and, set up for fishing. But the camera, what I love about that is that then kind of helps you pinpoint too, not just seeing the fish, but pinpoint for the things you're looking for that are the habitat, that species you're going after would be hiding out in.
The great thing with the camera, when I say a camera is a must have, because that's your eyeballs in the water, I can see if I'm fishing for perch or if I'm fishing for pike, I'm looking for what they're eating. Now, like Mary Ronan, they eat a lot of those bloodworms, we call them. The worms are sitting in the mud. I can drop that camera right in the mud, and I can see those worms.
Really?
And I know that those perch are going to be coming in for those worms. Thompson Lakes, they've got these little snails that are sitting on the little grass on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I drop my all the way to the bottom, and I can see those snails. And you catch a fish, and he's puking up all these little snails. Well, that's the bait I'm looking for. That's what they're eating. Yeah, so that's what makes the camera so an important part of your eyes, and pinpointing on what color am I going to use, what depth, and where are those weeds at, and then I can mark that spot on my Navionics. I can come back the next time I go fishing.
So you've kind of combined, the spotting scope for hunting with fishing. So you're kind of using that that's really a great way to take advantage of the ice. And that's got to help as far as is not sitting for hours in an area that is just never going to produce fish.
Putting fish topside is the most important thing.
Bingo. Mm-hmm.
And get the tools that can help you increase your probability of getting fish on topside, then it's worth the $120. I spent many hours on a lake with no electronics, nothing, just a rod and an auger and a scoop. Didn't catch any fish. And the guy 20 feet away from me got his limit because he had the electronics. I'd walk over there and look at it. I'm like, well, I can't afford that. Well, I can't afford sitting on a bucket all day either.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
We talk about technology and how advanced. Well, back in the day, we had 40, 50, 60 cc gas, 2-stroke augers for drilling holes. And these things, 35, 40, 50-pound augers, and toting those around the lake all day. By the time you drilled 5 or 6 holes, you were sweating.
Right.
Well, then technology got a little bit nicer, and we went into the propane. And the propane lasted for about 5-6 years, which made it lighter. It did make it lighter. But now that everything is going to battery and ion, where am I at here? This company is actually called Ion.
Okay.
This is an 8-inch auger. As you can see, I'm lifting it with one hand. It only weighs 15 pounds, and that's with the battery.
Okay.
And it's literally electric.
I'll be dang. Now, so 15 pounds, how long will that battery last? About how many holes can you dig, do you think?
Well, not rated on how many holes, because everyone's ice conditions are different.
Yeah.
But on one chart, you can drill up to 2,000 inches on one battery.
Wow. Okay. So
I don't know how you are, but 2,000 inches is a lot of drilling.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm done for the day, probably.
I do carry a couple extra batteries. So if I do get to that commit where I need to drill 2,000 inches of holes, I got a backup battery. But yeah, with the ion battery on it, it's a great tool to have. The price of these have come down a lot in the last couple of years because there's so many different manufacturers making them. They're being very competitive right now. But I found the ion to be one of the nicer ones. There's no, blades aren't even metal. It's all plastic.
Wow. Now, you put a longer auger on that if need be?
Yeah, I've got extensions in the bag to carry, but we don't really get that deep of ice here in the Northwest. Or, a 36-inch auger is going to cover most of the lakes around here. Now, if I'm going to Fort Peck, I'm bringing every extension I've got.
Right. Yeah, Fort Peck, or when I talked to Garrett Osler down at West Yellowstone and that, you may be augering for a while in those areas.
Yeah, down at Hebden Lake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that kind of covers a lot of the what size package do I need for what species. And like I said, the most important thing is go to your local tackle shops. They're going to give you the best information that they've been given. A lot of those guys already ice fish themselves. So you might as well just go down there and just compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges, price-wise versus this. Again, your fishing line, your tackle, your rods, your electronics. Now, this is all great stuff. How do I get it out in the lake? Well,
right. I'm just going to ask you that. You showed us all these great things. Well, that's a lot to pack with you. So, yeah, what do you do? Because we can't always take our snowmobile or four-wheeler on the ice. A lot of times it's just not thick enough to hold that.
Well, even your kids' plastic sled will work, but they do, whether it be the Murdochs or your North 40s, but all the tackle shops are going to carry sleds. These are ice fishing sleds. They're called otter sleds. They're real durable plastic. You see a lot of people on horse ranches that pack them for packing hay out into the field. They slide real good over the snow. And you can put a hitch on them. You can tow them with your four-wheeler or your snowmobile, or you put a rope on it and you just tow it out there with your muscle.
Yeah.
But the snow gets pretty deep. It gets kind of hard to tow that stuff out there. But you can get different slides and put on underneath of them and make them even slicker.
Well, that's what teenagers that play football are for. You have them pull those things out there.
Exactly. Some of the other quick things I talk to people about is what's your go-to fishing lure?
Right.
And a lot of guys that are watching this are going to agree with me, but probably the Haley's. Now it's a lead jig with a little chain on it. And that's a go-to lure for us. That's why I've got so many of them, and most of my rods already have them on there. What makes a Haley so productive? You've got the lure that looks like a fish, then you got this little tail dancer, we call it. And if you got maggots or corn or whatever bait you're using on it, the slightest bit of jigging makes that bait wiggle. And I've caught everything from rainbows to perch to pike to crappie, salmon. All those species that we were talking about earlier, I've caught all on the same lure. So that's kind of like go-to lure.
Yeah, and I'm showing a Haley's jig on the screen here, just one example for you, folks, just so you can look at it and you can see it there. And there'll be a link again in the podcast description to Haley's. You can go through and look at all of them and then go find your local sporting goods store and pick them up.
The other jig is my go-to. It's just a regular tungsten lead head, and I'll put some little plastics on it. Okay. And I'll tip that with a maggot or a wax worm. Like I said, I'm targeting everything from rainbows to perch to crappie to bass. They will all hit this lure. All it's doing is imitating a small little bait fish, whether it's a baby perch or a shiner. And in almost every lake you go to, you're going to catch a fish on a small lead head tungsten or lead head.
Or lead head. Okay.
Yep. Why tungsten can be so popular is because it's heavier than lead. So you can get the same size lure, but make it heavier so you can drop it down faster. You got a little more bend in your rod tips, so you have a more sensitive look at it. So when a fish barely bites it, or if he's just sniffing it or lipping it, you can see that action on your rod.
Who
That's
makes
why
who makes those tungsten lures and that?
there's several manufacturers out there, and you've got local guys. But there's just another array of. Some of these are local. Some of these are clam. Clam is very, very big into the tungsten heads now.
Right.
And most of tackle shops are going to have a full blown section, whether it be clam, whether it be the HT products, VMC. There's a lot of manufacturers out there. Take a look at them. A lot of this stuff I look at on YouTube videos when I'm searching, watching TV at night. I'm watching, I'm learning. I'll buy a couple. I go out fishing, and then we've also got local guys that make jigs for us. So when you go to your tackle shop, talk to your salesman down there. What's working? Is it a local company or is it a big corporation? And they'll help you out and get you the right jig for the right species that you're looking for.
Sure.
I could talk about tackle for hours too.
Mm-hmm.
I've got hundreds of jigs. Just each one of them is for a different species of fish for different waters, because each lake's got a different bait in it, whether it be leeches, redworms, or they're just eating snails. We've got freshwater shrimp in a lot of our lakes. So you got to match the hatch when you're ice fishing.
Right. And that's why I like going to the locally owned sporting goods stores in the area you're going to fish, because they tend to stock what they know works. And the guys and gals that work there go out and fish all the time. So they're going to give you that great information. I'm not knocking the big chain stores, but a lot of them they have deals with manufacturers so they have to carry a lot of stuff that just is not relative to the area you're in. So, that's why I really like going to those nice, small, locally owned sporting goods stores, because they got the local knowledge and you won't waste a lot of time. And they usually price stuff really well too. So,
and they're getting a lot of information back from the local anglers.
Exactly.
Whether it's guides or just repeat customers. That's what's great about small communities like this in the Northwest Montana area, and including Missoula and the Great Falls. I fish all over the state over all the years, and I've never found a bad fishing tackle shop in my life. They're all fun.
Well, we're going to take one last quick break, but when we come back, Matt, if you could, I'd really like you to touch on, and you're probably already planning to do this, but touch on things, just briefly, kind of what we should wear or some ideas of it. I think that's probably the biggest barrier to entry to ice fishing for a lot of people. They say, "Oh, I'm going to get too cold. I don't want to deal with that." Boy, they've changed the world on that. So we'll talk about how you stay warm out there, and then we'll get into safety tips too right after this. I want to take a minute to thank Superior Hardwoods of Montana for their support of this podcast. It is what allows us to bring you the latest from Montana's great outdoors, with very few interruptions, by the way. That said, there is another reason we are lucky to have Superior Hardwoods of Montana on board. They are an amazing business that can offer all of you some of the most incredible wood products you have ever seen. Plus, Superior Hardwoods of Montana is still a place that actually cares about and appreciates their customers, the same way we appreciate you, our viewers and listeners. They offer you something original and totally unique, like their 11 acres of wood wall paneling, flooring, trim, beams, slabs, well, you name it. Every single piece has a story behind it. Wood from old barns, historic homesteads, even historic factories. And that amazing wood can be part of your story too. Right there in your home can be a piece of American history, brought back to life, custom milled and refinished to your specifications. So it not only tells its original story, but also speaks to who you are and how special your home is. Superior Hardwoods also has exotic woods, live edge slabs, pre-finished and unfinished flooring too, all in stock and ready to go. Need help picking out the right material? Just ask. Their team has been doing this since 1977. They know how to guide you through the woods. Swing into their beautiful showroom at 5120 Highway 93 South in Missoula. Or you can just check them out online at superior-hardwoods.com. That's Superior Hardwoods of Montana. Local, knowledgeable, family-run, and ready to help you build something that lasts. Let them guide you through the woods at superior-hardwoods.com. Superior Hardwoods of Montana. Go see them. Back here on the Montana Outdoor Podcast, Captain Matt McComb is my guest. We're talking about ice fishing in northwest Montana, a little ice fishing preview for you. And Captain Matt's been showing us some great gear and all that. Matt, if you're done with the lures and some of the gear stuff, if you're not, just let me know. We can keep going. But if you're done with that, could you give us some ideas about clothing and keeping warm? Not just there are other ways to keep warm too. As I was saying before the break, that is a big barrier to entry where a lot of folks are just worried they're going to get way too cold, so they're going to go all the way out in the lake. By the time they get there, they're saying, I got to go home. So talk about that.
Well, the most important thing is staying dry.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in 10-degree weather out there and you get wet, you're in trouble. Not only from frostbite, hypothermia, but just being miserable. You don't want to go do something that's fun and be miserable.
Right.
So investing in a good pair of boots is probably the most important thing. I'm a muck boot lover. I have been for years. These are the Arctic Pros. I've never in my life had my feet cold in these. So there's different levels, but the Arctic Pro is one of the higher up. Very, very good insulation. I do wear a small wool sock underneath with a polypropylene underneath to help wick any water or sweat from my feet.
Got it.
Keeping your feet dry. Now, this is a 15-inch boot, so if I'm in 8 inches of slush, my feet are staying dry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's the most important thing, is staying dry.
And that's kind of a rubber boot, right? It's completely waterproof.
100% waterproof.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you notice there's something else on here.
Right,
okay?
yeah.
Not only are we going to go about comfort, we're going to go about safety.
Mm-hmm.
You're standing on ice,
Mm-hmm.
okay? These are little bolts on the bottom of this. These are our ice cleats, and these are fully detachable. You can take them off. So if you're not on ice, you can take these off and still walk through the snow. But this is going to keep you from falling on your tush, smashing your hip,
Mm-hmm.
crashing your head on the ice, okay? If you're walking on ice without cleats, it's very, very dangerous. I do not recommend it at all. Now, this is one of the higher end cleats that they make, only because if I'm packing gear out there, I want the most grip as I can so I'm not slipping when I'm going across the ice. They make many, many other manufacturers make different styles that are less aggressive. This is very aggressive. It's very loud when you're walking across the ice. So once I get out there, I do carry, forgot to mention this earlier, I carry these rubber mats.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Get these at Harbor Freight or your local Walmart. They're actually like a workout mat or a bench. If you're working on the bench, something you can connect together and make long. So when we set up our shacks, we set these down so you are standing on the mat and you're not standing on the ice.
Yeah, and
Why
that's
is that important?
a foam mat.
Is
Right?
it the foam mat?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
I line my sled up with a bunch of these, so they don't take up any room in your sled. But once we get out there, not only me but my customers can stand on it. Your feet aren't exposed to the raw ice, but also if I'm going to kneel down to grab a fish, my knee isn't getting dug into the chars of ice crystals and that hard ice.
Great.
So I got a little bit of cushion for my old knees I got here. Number 3 is it's quiet. I can walk around and not make noise. I'm not crunching the ice. So there's 3 different things that these are used for: warmth, quietness, and to protect my knees from getting tore up on all the ice. And these are relatively cheap, $4 or $5 a sheet.
Yeah.
You got to have these.
So that noise, that will scare off the fish, right?
Well, it's not natural to have people walking with the ice especially if you're thinking shallow water fish. Say you're in that 10-foot, 8-foot. You don't want the least amount of noise you can make, the better your chances are of producing fish topside. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We're going to go back into comfort and safety with one item. We talked about technology over the year. Is our actual gear that we're wearing. Okay. This is made by Clam, and it's called the Rise Motion Float Jacket. This is a full size winter jacket, but it's got flotation built in it. So if I was to fall in, I've got the bibs and the jacket. I will float, which is going to give me a chance to get out of the hole I'm in, or it's going to give a chance for someone else who's on the ice to come rescue me because I'm not sinking. Now, you think, how can a suit be comfortable and yet still make me float? Well, the original ones that came out were very bulky.
Yeah.
You felt you had a life jacket on.
You look like the Michelin Man. Yeah.
They have come a long ways over the last 4 or 5 years. Eskimo is another great company. I've got a suit from them. I got a suit from Clam. So I carry 2 different suits. So one day I fish, say it's raining and snowing. When I get home, I'll hang it up in the laundry room, let it dry. And then the next day I'll take my other suits. So I'm always rotating my suits. Now, these are expensive. We're talking $500-$600 for a suit, but what's your life worth?
Right. I agree, man. That's something that if you're gonna skimp on on ice fishing gear, don't skimp on that thing, because that one, they're very warm, and 2, they will save your life. And I have heard so many stories of people, especially early in the season or late in the season, of people going through the ice, and they have said, bottom line, that saved my life. Because
there's a bunch of YouTube videos, not only from Clam, from Eskimo, showing you, if you do fall in, how to get yourself out with this on. And I encourage everyone to look at that, watch those videos. It's not easy getting out of water onto slick ice. And one of the best ways to help you get back on the ice is hanging on my neck right here. Probably the cheapest insurance you can purchase. It's not in your way. It goes around your hood, whether what jacket you're wearing, or even if you take your jacket off, always keep these on. Different manufacturers. Obviously, this is the Balloon Clam, just the ones I had. If I was to go in and I've got nothing to grab a hold of wet, slick ice, these come apart, and I've got little spears on them.
Ice,
and I can ice myself up, kicking my feet. I can get back on. Once I get on the ice, turn and start rolling until you feel that you've rolled to a safe depth of ice that you can stand up and get your butt back to shore and get warm. But yeah, it's probably the cheapest insurance. I think these go for around $10. I've got so many pairs of them, so I don't even know what they cost anymore, but they're cheap insurance.
Yeah. And I'll put a link to an article that kind of talks about how to pull yourself out of the ice. But the things you just brought up there are just so vital. And they're comfortable. And the other thing I've noticed about when you have this kind of gear, especially when you're taking people that are novices, maybe they have never ice fished before, or they're always worried about falling in, because, you see all this ice out ahead of you. I can see where people get a little worried. It takes that worry away, because now they know they're prepared for it. They're going to float. They're going to be okay, and they're going to be able to pull themselves out. Typically, you're fishing with a lot of other people. I do not recommend ice fishing alone. That's a bad idea. But then you can pull yourself out. So that now you're not worried about that. You're enjoying fishing.
I agree with you on that, Downrigger. Fishing alone is not recommended, but a lot of times you got no one else to take out fishing, and you want to go. If you are the first one out on a lake, or if you're on an unfamiliar lake, there's things called a spud bar. I don't have one on me. It's out in the shop. A spud bar is just a 4 to 6 foot bar, fairly heavy, and you're chipping away at the ice every 4 or 5 steps. Hit it 2 or 3 times. If it doesn't go through, then you're sitting in 2+ inches of ice.
Okay.
if you don't have a spud bar, look at your local sporting goods stores and see how much they cost. Or if you've got a shop and you can build one, they're not that hard to make. Other than that, you're drilling holes. Don't bring your gear out. Just walk out with your safety gear on and just start drilling holes just to see how deep the ice is. But I like to fish where other people have been so I can see their tracks. I can see old holes, how deep the ice is. And again, I do pre-fish. I don't ever take customers out on lakes I've never drilled a hole on. And my bottom line is we're walking out, we're walking back home.
Right.
We're not going to put ourselves in a situation. A couple more safety things. I always carry a shovel. Now these come apart. They're very compact. Every sporting goods store carries these. They're super light. But if you were to get your 4-wheeler or snowmobile stuck, at least you've got something besides your bare hands to dig yourself out.
Good idea.
Or if you get yourself in any type of trouble, I've got one in my pickup, just in case. They're very light and very affordable. They're all aluminum, and they'll get the job done when you need it.
And I like the holes in the back so the water can run out if you're getting into the slush and stuff. So nice idea.
Of all the safety things we've covered, they're all important. None of them's less or more important than the rest. Just like your boat, you should always have a throwable flotation device on top of your life jackets. But now we're on ice. Well, if we do go in, why wouldn't we carry a flotation device? This is a simple seat cushion, a flotation cushion. It also makes a heck of a butt cushion sitting on the bucket too.
Perfect.
I'll carry a 75-foot throw rope. There's 75 feet of rope in here. Now, Downrigger, if you and I went fishing and we were about 20 feet apart and you went in, I'm not going to run over there and pull you out. Because obviously the ice that you're on is dangerous. I'm going to throw you this throwable and I'm going to stay 20 feet away. It's going to peel out just like a spinning rod. Okay. As I throw the flotation device to you, then I can tie this to the 4-wheeler, or I can put my hand through it and we can start pulling you out, or I've got some more people coming over. This comes with me everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Not because I want to use it. You might need it.
Right. Exactly. When you said, I'm not pulling you out, I thought you were going to be like the captain. His sentence just stops there. I'm not pulling you out.
all the sporting goods stores are going to carry stuff like this. Cabela's, Sportsman's, all the big stores carry it. I mean, obviously it's just basic safety stuff. If not, go online, get this ordered, and make sure it's part of your assessment that goes into your sled. Do not go on the ice without this.
Right.
It could save someone's life, could save your life.
And you made a great point that if somebody's falling in, you don't run right to the hole, because obviously that is not safe place. So very, very good point. Got to have it.
And I carry other safety things out in the sled also. I have a 30-foot tow rope in case someone's 4-wheeler does go in or it gets bogged out. I can help pull them out. I do have a winch on both the 4-wheelers, stuff like that, but that's just extra stuff. Yeah.
Now, anything else in the safety or any of that topic before we move on to my favorite part, the easy way?
One thing I didn't cover was let someone know where you're fishing and let them know when you're going to be back. Over the years, we've lost a few people in the Northwest area.
Yeah.
And the first thing was, I knew he went fishing, but I didn't know where he went. Okay. Well, you're going to send a search and rescue out there. They kind of want to pinpoint where you went. So let someone know where you're going and when you're going to be back. Okay. That's just fair for everyone else that's going to be out there looking for you if you don't make it back.
All right. Now, if some of our viewers and listeners say, this is all great information, guys, I love it, it's really great, but I'm probably only going to ice fish maybe once or twice, tops 3 or 4 times a year. I don't want to get all the gear. maybe I've never done it before, and I just want to try it to see if I'm even going to like it. You have the official Matt McComb easy way to do all this. Talk about that.
Give us a call. We'll explain it over the phone, what you're going to be exposed to. Like I said, we have all the ice shacks. We have the heaters. We've got the cameras. We've got the electronics. We have extra gear. If you don't have gear, we've got extra boots, gloves, the ice cleats. I have more rods than Cabela's carries right now, so don't worry about rods. And then all of our gear is set up to where you just walk out on the ice, sit in the chair, and you're fishing. You don't got to pack anything out. You don't got to buy bait. You don't got to figure out where to fish on the lake. That's what my job is. And once we're out there, if you want to learn, I will go over more things, kind of like what we just did today. Explain why this is this, why this worked for this, how the fish finder works, how the camera works in more detail, that if you do want to go to the next step after we expose you to all the fun stuff that can happen on the ice, then I can direct you to the right sporting goods store, which gear to buy. It could end up saving you hundreds of dollars by spending hundreds of dollars on a charter.
Exactly.
And do it not only in the summertime, but I do it ice fishing, the spring fishing. Guys are like, hey, I'm looking about buying a boat. Could I go out on your boat and learn? You betcha. Or buy a boat and have me come on their boat and show them how to run the boat.
Well, that's great. Yeah.
Thing with ice fishing, I've got 5 different ice shacks in my trailer right now. I've got the 2-man, the 3-man, the 5-man. I got the pullovers. What kind of gear do you want to invest in? I'll bring that gear out there and show you why this is more easier to set up than this over here. We have it all.
So when I go out with you, so let me first do 2 questions. Question number 1, what should I bring? Because you just explained all the goodies you have. Is there anything in particular I should bring when I go fishing with you?
Back to what we were talking about gear. This right here will determine how long you fish.
Okay. So good boots. All right.
You're standing on cold ice. That's where you got to start. The next would be breathable, waterproof bibs and coats to keep you warm from point A to point B. Once you get in the shack, it gets pretty warm in there with the heaters on.
Yeah. And that's the other thing to point out is you're not just going to be sitting out there exposed. Matt's going to have you in a nice comfy shack. It's warm. It's pretty deluxe, guys. It really is. About how much does it cost, Matt, to go fishing for a day with you?
We do half days. We start right at $500. That's for up to 2 people.
Okay.
And then there's a fee for each additional person. And then if it's a big group, we can make deals on that also.
Okay.
You betcha.
So best way, just give Matt a call. Now, in the podcast description, I have a link to his email. I have a link, I have his phone number there and all that. There are a few, not many, but there are a few sites that you can find this podcast on that don't have the podcast description. So I'm going to put that email up on the screen now and phone number on the screen now. But for our listeners that aren't watching, there you go. Okay. I've got that. You even have the QR code. Man, you're uptown. So
That's all right.
There's the ice fishing packages right there. He's showing on the screen. If for our listeners that can't see any of this and are on a site, which by the way, if you use a site that doesn't have any of that, switch to one of them that does, gang. But anyway, say out loud your phone number so people can call you.
406-844-FISH.
Oh,
that's 3474.
Okay, say it one more time for us.
844-3474.
There you go.
Or just 844-FISH.
844-FISH, course area code 406 for Montana. There you go. Matt, we have run out of time. We haven't even got to some techniques. I hope I can have you come back and do more. But you have given us an incredible hour of your time, and this has been just a master class on ice fishing and great information on how to fish the Northwest Montana. So I can't thank you enough. Anything else you want to say, Matt, before we go?
You betcha. Always check conditions, whether it's going to the lake itself or check at your local tackle shops on any bad conditions that you should be aware of. And then always check your fish and game regulations for the lake that you're going to. So you know going there what you can and can't keep, what you can and can't fish for. You don't want to get yourself in trouble for lack of knowledge.
Right. Okay. Well, gang, you probably have a lot of questions. Can I put your email in if they want to give questions? And which email would you like me to use?
Our email is charters@fishonmt.com.
Great. And I'll put that, it's on the screen now, but it's all in the podcast description there, folks. In fact, I made it easy in the podcast description. You just click and it opens up your email deal and populates everything. And all you got to do is type the message and hit send, and boof, it's off to Matt. And then, of course, the phone number is a great, easy way to do it. Call, leave a message, because a lot of times he's busy out, and then he's going to get back to you. And he can answer your questions about going out. But here's what I recommend. Start with the easy way. Start with just having Matt take you out. Now you're going to learn, and he'll put on a great master class for you on technique, on everything else, and get you all dialed in. And then you can either keep using Matt if you just like doing it that way, or now you've learned and now you know the gear to get, and eventually you can become your own ice fisherman yourself, or fisherwoman. So anyway, Matt, thank you so much for this time and all this great information. I cannot wait for the hard water to hit. We're going to have some fun. And one of these days, I'm going to bring the cameras out, and we're going to go on a expedition with you out ice fishing and do a podcast that way and watch this chubby old man fall down on the ice a couple times.
No, buddy. No, don't forget, every Saturday morning on the Outdoor Radio Show, about 7:35, I'll be doing a live report, whether I'm on the ice or if we're just getting out there. Took a couple weeks off, had some medical stuff I had to take care of, but we should be back on this weekend.
Great. Yeah, and that's a great way to find out all kinds of current conditions, too. So Montana Outdoor Radio Show, and, of course, there's always a link in the description for that, too. You can watch it on Facebook. There's a listen live link and all that. So even if you're not in Montana and you can't catch it on one of our incredible radio stations, we have 30 radio stations across the state that you can listen to. That's the best way. But if you're not around, of course, you can find us online, too. There you go. Matt McComb, thank you very much for all that you've done. Thank your beautiful wife for letting us invade your home to pull out all your gear and do this. And we just can't wait to do it. Folks, questions, you let us know. Until then, number one, be safe out there. Be good to each other. And we'll see you next time on the Montana Outdoor Podcast. And let's fish on, baby.
Fish on, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for watching the Montana Outdoor Podcast. You know, there's no way we could do this podcast without the incredible support of sponsors like Superior Hardwoods of Montana, home of the largest selection of in-stock, high-end wood products and flooring in the western United States. Let them guide you through the woods at superior-hardwoods.com. And of course, Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer in Missoula, home of Boss snowplows and accessories, and Diamond Sea Trailers and accessories. Go see them on the web at rmtte.com. We'd love to hear what you thought of this week's podcast. When you get a minute or two, shoot us an email and tell us your thoughts. Same goes if you have any questions for Rigger or this week's guest. Just send your questions or comments to downrigger@montanooutdoor.com. Hey, don't forget we should be dropping a new podcast this next Saturday. Until then, gang, we hope to see you soon out in Montana's great outdoors.